Hi guys, Dan here, and I'm here today to do a little bit of a reading from my book from a very good friend of mine, Morgan Straughan and Comnick. You may or may not have heard of her. She's a fantastic author who's written some absolutely amazing books, and she has a new book coming out. Woo! Applause! Woo! Yeah! Go Morgan! Yeah. Me and Morgan, we've worked together on quite a few projects together. We used to do some, funny enough, I used to do a TV series on YouTube. Well, not a TV series, a YouTube series, I should say. And she and I used to do some voices on it. So, and she asked me if I would be interested in doing a reading for her book. So here I am today. So basically, she has a blog tour going on at the moment. I'll leave a link to her website either in the video or on a comment on Facebook below, depending on how lazy I'm feeling doing editing of this. But yeah, she has a new book which is called Monsters and Mortals, which is part 2 of her Hunter and Bringer series, which I've actually had the privilege of reading beforehand because he's asked me and a few others to do some editing for it, and it's a absolutely fantastic book. So I'm really looking forward to reading some parts for you today. I would have helped out on the blog tour, but sadly I don't have a blog anymore. But I like to help out Morgan because she's, like I said, an amazing author. I really want to make sure she gets as many readers as possible. So today I will be reading a sample from that book. So basically, Hunter and Bringer is sort of like a fantasy, I guess you could say like a new adult fantasy novel. And probably should say at the beginning, in the actual book itself, there is some swear words. What I'm going to do here is, because this is Facebook and I want to try and keep it fairly family friendly, anytime there's a swear word in here, I'm going to replace it with another word. So if you hear a word that feels a bit out of place, there's probably a swear word, and I don't want to offend the younglings on here. But just bear that in mind. If you do actually get a copy of the book, then there may be 1 or 2 swear words. But okay, so in this book, there'll be a few characters, and I'll just let you know what the characters are now. You have Val, who's the badass but good-hearted narrator. So for that, I thought I'd try and do her voice in the style of, in my opinion, the most badass heroine ever, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There's a character of Jeremy, who is a playboy, so I thought I'd try doing that in a Tony Stark sort of voice. I say I'm going to do this. I'm probably going to do most of my own things, but that's probably what I'm aiming for. There's a character called Galen, who is a grizzled asshat. That's her description, not mine. So I thought I'd base that on the average Guardian reader. I'm joking. There's another character called Kessler, who is super timid and scared easily. So I definitely thought I'd give that a try in the style of Morty from Rick and Morty, because why not? And finally, we have Chief, who's an Italian with an air of sass. So I probably will butcher the Italian accent. And I know I've got some, to any Italian friends watching, I just want to apologise in advance if I butcher these words. So please bear with me. But yeah, okay. So without further ado, I'm going to read a few scenes from, I don't know which chapter this is from because I wasn't given that. But here's a few lines from Monsters and Mortals, Hunter and Bringer 2. Here we go. Hope you enjoy. Clouds drifted in patterns all around me, dancing in a slow rotation. Windows of light streamed in random shapes, the world rotating around me like I was sitting in the middle of a carousel. The air was refreshing but tasted salty and sweet, so much so that my throat clogged and my eyes watered. I tried to walk forward, but I was glued to my spot, only able to spin in place. Maybe I was inside a fogged-up snow globe. Through the gaps in the cottony, thin clouds, shadows of green blinked in my vision, tall with steady bases. Trees? That must have been it. The branches reached towards the concealed clear sky, nature's arms reaching out to call their mother moon. I could sense it was twilight, the world grey, but still had some light so darkness could not fully cover me. I wanted to go to the world outside, but I felt trapped in a sea of fog. Yet I was still alive and moving, so was the world outside. But we were going at different places. My hands beckoned to grasp a thread of cloud, but all I got was a vapour swirling through my fingers, then dying quickly. When I stared at my tingling hand, the colour of smoke rising to parts unknown, a flash of white light entered my clear eye. Carefully, I looked towards the heavens to notice a blinking pearl-pink light. It was masked by the fog, but its rays were peeking out to the clouded hall which enclosed me. This light, it should have been a sign that I would have been guided out of this prison, but Instead, when I stared at it, unmoving, I felt sharp blades attack my chest, like everything was spinning on an axis and yet staying still. Time of form that could force me down. The line hurt, and I was trapped in its hold as it pulled me into its confines. Waterloo, I was defeated, you won the war. Ha! I started, a low rumbling escaping my lips, my body jerking in sitting position. For a few breaths, I couldn't see anything, my eyes refusing to adjust to another new reality. When I decided to work, I stared at a blank wall cloaked in mostly darkness. Only a firefly lamp gave me enough luminescence so I could make out vague shapes. I wasn't sure how I appeared in this new place, but my soul was pulsing to tell me at least one thing. Waterloo, promise to love you forevermore. I needed to stop that ABBA song blowing for my alarm so I didn't wake anyone else. Digging for my phone on a lovely wooden nightstand, I fought in a heated panic to locate the cord that would lead me to the phone, which ended on the floor. After that, what felt like forever wrapped in eternity, I was able to awkwardly grab my phone, not comprehending still 100% what I was doing, and turn off the alarm. It was hard to keep hold of my phone since it was as slippery as a fish, but I needed to try and shuffle past this. I ran my fingers roughly through the bedhead I felt was there, and laid the back of my head dramatically over my forehead, trying to get my composure and hold my head from spinning like a runaway top. My skin was crawling with sweat and heat, like a dragon had sneezed way too close to my face. The blanket was wound tightly around my ankles, and I kicked it off me hard, feeling restricted. Ugh! I mumbled zombie-like, trying to get my breathing regulated. Where am I? So I've lost my place there. Here we go. Getting a better, less psychotic viewpoint of my surroundings, I was able to soak in the beauty of my quaint little room, with detailed wooden furniture and lush yellow and blue checkered bedding, a red arrangement of flowers on the table near me. A wooden wardrobe was tucked neatly in the corner, an ocean scene painted on its fine finish, looking invitingly enough to take me into a new world. My silk PJs were too big for me, the sleeve dangling beyond my hands, but their hatch pattern in white and pink was soothing. Tapping into my skull, I recall I went to the bathroom to take a hot shower, indulging in the scent of honey shampoo and ocean spray body wash. Chief Azure had a pretty assistant lead me to my room for the night. I'd barely finished unplugging my hairdryer and mumbly stepped into my PJs before passing out face down to the silk pillow. My body had given in to my tired mind, and I was able to get a little over 3 hours of sleep. You should be so lucky. Rolling on my back, I looked at the ceiling, giving my bearings. My head was pounded by the muffled sounds of light footsteps scattered around the hall. The cacciapatori preparing for their day, while still being respectfully quiet to their guests. I suppose I had to analyse my dream or transportation later. It was an enigma to me. I felt my forehead, allowing the blankness of my world to embrace me for just a few seconds. Well, time to face the music. And on that joyful note, I hopped down on my comfy bed to start my morning. So, quick sip of my Coke. It's Diet Coke, don't worry, I'm watching my calories, don't worry. Okay, next part. Locating everyone was as easy when I followed my nose. The aroma of coffee, cinnamon and jam was a pleasure trail to venture on. Entering the cafe, a spread of colourful pastries was laid on a silver tray. Small black and white china plates with bluebell flowers curving on them at the end. Glass containers filled with jams, jellies and fresh fruit dotted the opposite end of the shining black island counter. On the wooden counter by the black wall menu board were 12 pots of different types of coffee steaming, making the room smell delightful and the air warm. A delicate setup of milk, sugars, creamers of many flavours sat side by side their partner drink. Side by side their partner drink. Hardy cups ready to be filled on the other side. A machine that was producing some sort of porridge was there as well, looking inviting. I had to admit there was a lot of warm comfort food. Our Italian brothers and sisters were very sophisticated people, nice to set up a breakfast each day. Instead of poise and light conversation this atmosphere deserved, I was greeted by the three weirdo amigos from my mission group. Or maybe they were stooges. Sitting at the little homely table by the large bay, the window, was Kessler, a flaky pastry on a tiny china plate in front of him, and a cup of something in his hand, but his head was swaying back and forth, drool escaping from the corner of his lips. I jumped every time his cup jittered slightly, not sure if anything was hot in it. My always peachy Galen sensei was partly sitting, partly reclining on a tall black stool at one of the tables in metal ivy, his mocking smile creeping me as he toasted the air with his cup. And Buttmunch the Clown was leaning forward on the island in the middle of the cafe, shadowing the pastries. He was wearing a dove grey shirt and navy slacks, his beam as bright as the sunlight streaming into the room. He caught sight of me, his green eyes crinkling to match his grin. "Good morning, my breath of fresh air. Can you believe these lovely folks don't have any meat on their breakfast table? I'm not used to not having bacon on my plate." "Yeah, I'm with you there, mate." "I'm a man. I gotta have my meat." He winked at me as I approached the sweets buffet for a closer inspection. My arms crossed on their own as I scanned the food and gave him a sideway glance. "Pfft, I'm sure you do like your meat. Don't be an ingrate. Our hosts were gracious enough to give us a meal." "Oh, stop acting so high and mighty in the damn morning, little girl. I didn't get to do my easy workout and I'm fizzy. Plus, they have all these foo-foo coffee that couldn't even put hair on the ball sack of a Bigfoot." Galen blew a spit bubble, twirling his fingers around a cup handle. A hard sigh erupted out of me, my chest throbbing from the aftershock. "Don't joke about Bigfoot." Jingle Smallballs nodded in agreement. "Bigfoots are nasty fellas. They're not good company." We shared a look of understanding, being on the same page about Moonstone for once. "Bigfoot!" Kessler hollered in his zombie state, looking petrified. His cup sloshed wildly and was about to spill on him. I sprinted to slide by his side, barely grabbing his drink in time before it spilled everywhere. Luckily, when a few droplets got on me, it appeared to be chocolate milk. "Oh, my precious yoo-hoo-loving boy." "Kessler, sweetheart, are you all right?" I grabbed his shoulder to balance him, panic surging through my voice. He mumbled something incoherent, then his head drooped heavily on my shoulder, resting and taking a sudden nap. "Aww." Jeremy chuckled good-humouredly and then pointed at my stuck stance. "Always the mother hen to us useless men, eh, Val? It suits you." "That's right, go drink your pansy coffee latte, then you can fight for all the good little housewives out there." Galen smack-talked me, giving me the crud show of his middle finger. Why do they always get the crazy ones? They're the worthless jerks, all of them. On behalf of my gender, let me just say, hey! I adjusted my shoulder with care so I could move Kessler gently to lean on the wall, giving him a comforting peck and smoothing his hair before standing up to glare dead on my mentor. "That's what I want to drink anyway, so thanks for the permission, you senile old fool." "Mother Foxtrot, I am sick of this bull poopy. You boys PMS more than me." I stormed over to the coffee station and made a flourish of putting fancy creamers, sugars and rich milk into my beverage, locking eyes with my sensei so that he could see every little movement I made. To add insult to injury, I topped it with whipped cream and drizzled caramel syrup. My rage was boiling so white hot that I knew my drink would never go cold. I wasn't sure where my outburst came from, but I was tired of all I had to do. Goodness, that was quite a speech there, Angelfish. I'm sorry if I did anything to upset you. Did you not sleep well? Jeremy's expression was light-hearted and calm, his hands still leaning forward casually on the counter, but I could feel him masking his concern by a large wrinkle on his forehead. My comeback was about to come in a blaze of blinding heat, ready to go, but I swallowed it down. The effort of lying seemed too much work and wrong. A sip of the tingling sweet beverage hit my shriveled old soul and filled me with a speck of tranquility. Considering it was only 3 hours and after the events of yesterday, I'm lucky for what I got the kind accommodations and a Kakatori friends... sorry, I should probably say that. And our Sakatori friends have given us. Again, I want to apologise to any Italians if I butcher that language. But... I paused, chewing on my lip as the images of my sleep world seeped into my mind once more. I did have an odd dream. Well, it wasn't really a dream, but more like I was transported to another world. There were clouds, great clouds everywhere, and... Did the fog surround you too? The question from Jeremy startled me, shaking me to the core as I looked over his honest, serious expression, facing fully straight up to face me. His fists were clenched at his sides, but he was trying to keep his professional composure us educations were trained in. Yes, I dragged out, my voice breathing, getting lost in the space of the homely kitchen space. Cold shivers climbed my skin despite the fire roaring and vapour touching my face on the coffee mug. I felt trapped like I couldn't move, but I could see through the clogs and fog simply. The sun peering out of holes in the ground, cyclone in a tree with a distorted branch reaching towards the sky. Jeremy finished the picture in my head out loud, his tone airy and in a trance, his eyes fixed on the sunlight shining through the window. It appears we had the same dream. I told this as a fact rather than a question. I have dreams that often give me snippets of things that will come true. In our field, many of us believe that those who hunt for monstroms are sensitive to auras around them. Fear flared inside my stomach and pulsed through my veins. The thought of the Lamia trying to control my feelings, leaking into my brain, left me staggering. I would rather have a love connection with you, but I suppose this is a start, Jeremy teased blandly, a ghost of a smile struggling on his lips. Excuse me. But as the lost hues of his pupils became washed out, his mind most likely travelling the same path mine was with the Lamia control. Did you have any strange dreams, Captain Anger Management? I asked my grumpy cat of a teacher, who was now returning from placing his cup of black coffee in the sink. He plopped on the red velvet chair from inviting fireplace, propping up his feet like a Gaston-like fashion, made me want to kick him in the ass. No, but I damn well didn't sleep. I tossed and turned like I had a fire ants crawling on me and in my room, and it was severely stuffy. My eyes stung, my vision blurred like I was in a sauna. I knew that none of it was really happening because I checked, but it weed me off. I actually had my knife on my side instead of on my nightstand. Something felt off and messed up. The thick tone of his voice sounded annoyed, yet also troubled. I felt the same way. A tiny voice entered our ears. Oh, sorry, hang on. That was actually Kessler. Sorry, let me just read that back again. I felt the same way. A tiny voice entered our ears. When we turned, Kessler was tussling his hair and blinking rapidly to get some sleep out of his eyes. Chargedly sleepy, he went on. I felt all those things too. I tried my calming music, man, during meditation. Not even YouTube would stop me being on edge. I was solving a notebook of advanced calculus problems for fun. It felt like someone was trying to make me feel uncomfortable as possible. So we all saw and felt the fog and were nervous. But I wonder why Jeremy and I were allowed to sleep and you guys not. Maybe somebody wanted to see those visions. It seems hence like you, friends, have had an encounter with our evasive and imperious natures of the monstrum variety. Slicing our silence was the sudden appearance of our glorious host, Chief Azure. Her brown eyes, large and youthful nervous compared to her stoic expression. The clinking of her shoes boomed onto the kitchen, her face melting naturally into a hostess smile. Buongiorno. I hope the breakfast was to your liking. I see you grabbed one of our cornetto ripieno al coccino, young Kessler. That is my personal favourite. I am a lover of apricot. I'm a lover of apricot. The warm smirk we received after her comment helped some of the tension loosen in my muscles, and even Kessler relaxed with a boyish grin. I like the flaky crust of the croissant, he complimented. Might want to add something other than sugar-coated hot cocoa for your menu, Russell, Missy Boss. Galen put his 2 cents in while propping up his feet on the armrest of the plush chair. Gosh, what an arrogant asshole my mentor was. I was so embarrassed. Wait for him to represent America. I could feel my face twist into a scowl and my cheeks blaze. The act of holding the rude comment hurt my throat. However, Chisazura just stared him down, unfazed by his remark. Inhaling to balance my mind again, I voiced what I wanted to say. Good morning to you, Chief Azure. Thanks for your hospitality. I hate to dampen the start of our day, but you mentioned something about having a visitor? Stating this question out loud made me flinch like I was summoning a dark reality. And I assume you don't mean one that'll drop off a casserole dish on our doorstep, Jeremy added, leaning behind me all easygoing. Unless you want to be the meal and the dish, I am afraid not, Chief Azure bit her lip answering. But then the colour gradually drained from her face and her eyes got distracted, lost in another world we could not enter. We are near an energy plane. This makes it easier for monstrums with the ability to travel and lure their prey to them. 200 years ago, our organisation made a peace treaty with the Campuna clan. Varies mostly, and I'm sure you are familiar with how peace treaties with Fae work. However, in the past few weeks, we have been moving around through the energy plane, invading dreams and causing more annoyance than usual. They are such a stuck-up race. We are not sure if they sense the plans of the Lamia or they are using these advances so they can cause trouble without breaking our agreement. The bar stewards are brilliant at finding loopholes. Contacts with intelligent monstrums have been going on since the founding of our organisation, when Lewis and Clark founded them on the first surveying. With these agreements, the clans or covens, or group of lamias, state they will not harm humans in certain areas of uncertainty and are allowed to track their movements. In exchange, we will not exterminate them on the spot like my blood yearns to do and have a sort of trial if they violate any of the rules. This happens more than we like, but most Fey clans just sneaky, trying to find ways to enslave humans or torture them since their food is a source of sunlight. Lamias are another story. I'm thinking about them more than I have to. Now let me guess, dollface, Galen began, a snarky smile being displayed for all to see as he slanted his eyes to decode the situation. Since we don't have the proper right to track our pasty-faced charge, are we going to have to do this over the energy plane in order to catch this monstrum's ass? Bingo, and don't call me dollface, Scarface, Chief Azure snipped back. The taken aback look on my sensei's face made my stomach laugh like jelly, but I held my hand over my mouth to seize the sound and I wanted to accompany it. We plan to have the charger to you as soon as possible, and of course, we will provide you with provisions and supply for your travel. Unfortunately, with your battle with that serpent fiend and the incident with the murder of those innocents last night, the water is not a safe option, and your pilot is still shaken. We have offered him rest and recovery till we can get back to the charger to you. Kessler rubbed his eyes dreamily, but the gold in them slowly began to flicker with a simmer. His knowledgeable side began to clear. Is the sinew ready for us? Chief Azure nodded. Indeed. My annoying sister was able to get a weak signal on the pathway to Athens. We have connections on a boat rental company about 135 kilometres away, and that can help you the rest of the way and get you to the main ferry to Athens, in the hope we can bring the charger back to you. About 20 to 40 kilometres from us, there is a massive patch of fields, and the energy plane runs through most of that area, making it easy for the Fae to manipulate it. So we need to be heading towards the Tyrrhenian Sea, Kessler pondered thoughtfully. There's a chance that we might be warped into the Fae realm then, I voiced, my mind feeling like it was coming out that deep fog from my dream. I may be seeing it sooner than I wanted. I haven't dealt with too many Fae, for we have special teams for that. Members who deal bail would compromise between hellish monstrum. Yet, I knew how to deal with them if need be, and I was not looking forward to any of it. Well, thanks for the supplies and kindness, dear Chief Azure. Jeremy bowed at the waist and laced his fingers through our hosts, but he dared do no more. A wise choice from the steely stare of disbelief she gifted him, but there was no rigidness when he approached her like before. Maybe the bringer wormed his way into being accepted by this Italian queen. Prego, I do not wish to rush you, but time is critical. This Lamia travels fast, and we cannot afford any more tragedies. Please, for the sake of your organisations, take him down, and we will analyse his moves from here and help in any way we can. Your supply packs, the sinew, provisions, and other devices in the lab room which you met Summer last night. And see, Mr. Galen, you may borrow a few of our weapons based on what we know in the area and the essentials. Galen did a manly whoop of joy and turned his back from us, mumbling about which toys he could cart onto our foggy, Fey-infested long hike. He would cart onto our foggy, Fey-infested long hike. The expression of Chief Azure's face was one of concern and a powerful leader. A final words of command as she patted my shoulder tenderly. Now be on your way, fratelli sorelle, and be safe while saving our world. Ci Dio se conte. I prayed her wish to God to bless us to defeat this threat would come true. But it was up to us just as much as the big guy upstairs. I squeezed her hand in return and we shared a smile of unity. It's what we do. So that was a little reading from, what was it again? Bloody hell, I forgot it now. The Hunter and the Bringer too. Sorry, I forgot I was reading there for a second. So, yeah, I highly suggest that you check it out. Do please check out the rest of Morgan's blog tour. I'll, again, leave a link to her website somewhere below. Morgan, hope that was good for you. Best luck with the launch, and anything I could do to help out, just let me know. But, yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. Sorry I was a little bit shaken a few places. I must confess, I hadn't planned anything prior to reading that, so I was doing that completely off the bat there. But hopefully it sounded okay. And yeah, again, hope you check out Morgan's book. And Morgan, again, best of luck for it. So thanks for watching this video, guys. Have a great day. Stay safe. Bye.